What's going on, everybody? I'm very happy and excited to introduce Aaron and Bob. They've been on the radio for over 20 years here at Salem State University and other places, I'm sure, as well. They are, I'm blessed to be getting interviewed by them on air about Boston to Philly and everything else. So I'm happy you guys can tune in. You're going to see my eyes kind of shift because I'm doing Facebook Live and Instagram Live all at the same time. So pretty fun experience for everyone else involved. Feel free to come on in, introduce yourselves, ask questions. We're going to be on air for about an hour, so ask your questions and I'll do my best to check in between the interview to answer them. So again, we have Celestin, we have Bob, we have Aaron, we're at WPM, Salem Radio. WMWM, I apologize.
And we're coming
Going on.
live.
Going on.
Welcome back to What's Happening. I'm Aaron. Our guest
Is
Ralph Celestin, very happy to be here.
and Bob Nelson over here.
It's a pleasure and an honor, Ralph.
Thank you.
First of all, I want
Turn off the fan. Yes, he wants to turn off the fan.
to be able to be heard and not have you wiped out by the fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to thank Jackie Zuck of Next on the Scene for bringing you to my attention. And I saw your movie last night. The only words I can say are wow.
Thank you.
Above and beyond your movie, your writing, your character development, we'll get into all that, is over the top. Your first movie?
Yeah, this is my directorial debut.
Okay, a little
Yeah,
closer.
absolutely.
There you go.
My directorial debut project, absolutely.
And the writing, I mean, it's... When we spoke originally, yeah, I know it moves.
Now it's still.
I got it.
You wrote this on the train heading to Philadelphia,
Yeah, Midnight Train.
which, great song too. That's a great song, Midnight
Yeah.
Train.
And do you know who's it by?
Gladys Knight and the Pips. Midnight Train to Georgia, meaning that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, it was just great.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it on the best place you can get it right now.
Yeah, Amazon Prime, right now, available.
And, you know, the video, I mean, you can rent it, you can own it. As I told Ralph earlier, I'm going to have to own it. Because you did, in every way, own this film.
Thank you.
And, well, let's go back. Growing up, you grew up around here.
Yes, I grew up in Arlington and throughout Boston.
That's why you're wearing an Arlington shirt.
The Arlington basketball jersey,
Yes.
that's right.
So I would assume that was your basketball jersey.
It was, yeah. Well, blood, sweat, and tears into that jersey.
You know, it starts off, okay, in Arlington. I mean, it's just really... They're calling it in the press, you know, a coming-of-age movie. When we were talking, it's a coming of being to oneself, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a tough movie. It is an enjoyable movie. You get to feel what's going on. You get to find which character you are. In many ways, many people, in many of the great Hollywood directors and writers, give away the character development in the first moment you meet them. Not true here. You get to learn about the characters throughout the movie. And the most important parts are still not given away until closer to the end. So you have to watch the movie, to enjoy the movie, to come on this midnight train of life. That's just my interpretation. Let me know if I missed something.
No, well, beautifully said. Well done. You did a really good job of just receiving and interpreting the message that I really wanted everyone to have when they saw the film. Because again, I cared so much about portraying Philadelphia in a way that hasn't been done before, and telling the story of which that hasn't been done before and told before. And that's you have to write down the money. I really wanted people to see the film for the journey that it is. You learn about these characters as you go, and such as life, things happen, and you don't get everything all at once. But at the end, you can reflect and figure out how it is you got to this point.
One big thing, because you're in there, and of course, when you meet Tilly, and you meet her, and she says, well, she just want to give you her real name. And
Yeah.
But then again, the real names of the characters are just really different too, which is really cool.
Mhm.
And later in the movie, she says, because you asked her out and go out, enjoy the day. But it's not a date.
It's not a date.
But it's not a date. But it's a date. And you're out there. Matter of fact, the first time you came out of the building and out of the subway, because it was great. The Boston to Philly song is in the beginning, and you're in the subway.
That's right.
Which a lot of people here in Boston do the same thing. They go down there and they play in the subway. And want to be heard. But it's not always easy. You listen to the song, you see her, and you follow her out of the subway. And hold that. Hold that. Because most people don't understand that people are more than other people. They're individuals. So you have to get to know the individual.
Yeah.
And you walk up there and you see the fountain. And you're mesmerized, like, wow, this is really cool. You want to learn about the city, see what's really there. Same thing happens here in Boston. You walk out of the subway, or even in the subway, you say, wow, what a city. But the people who live here don't see it. They never see it because we live here, so taking the Freedom Trail in Boston. How many people do you know who live right here and take U.S. history? You don't understand the U.S. history started here as far as the Revolution, and never have been on the Freedom Trail.
Far too many to count.
And seeing, how many areas of Philadelphia were in that movie? I counted 10, 12 different areas, but you let people know where it was.
Yes.
Or approximately where it is, because, sometimes you don't want to give the exact location, but, you hear Will Smith talk about, in his,
West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Right. But you don't really know, because, first of all, he didn't grow up in West Philadelphia. It just sounded good and fit in where he was acting and portraying. But you actually got to see the area and see what's going on and the people of that area. That's cool. So, like I said, let's step back a little bit. Growing up, what did you listen to as far as music? Because the music you have now in the movie fits perfectly.
Yeah, the soundtrack. It's available right now on iTunes and Spotify and Amazon. Aaron, Bob, I'll tell you guys, everything that went into this film has a personal element to who I am and what I went through when I came from Boston to Philadelphia. So if we're going to start with the music, there's just a sense of, is it destiny? Is it a coincidence? Is it somewhere in between? Because every single artist featured in the soundtrack was someone that I actually personally stumbled across, like physically stumbled across. When I first came to Philadelphia, I was just plagued with insomnia. I could not sleep. Bit of it was nerves because I'm in a new city. I have a brand new job. there's so many different things coming at me, and I was blessed to find an apartment right in the middle, the heart of Philadelphia. So there's so much going on, and I had never actually lived in the city before. So there, there's a learning curve where you have to get used to all the scents and all the noises that kind of come throughout the night, get comfortable with that. So I couldn't really sleep. So I would start just wandering around the city at all times of the night. So I had my phone, I had some headphones, and just walked around the entire city. And by doing so, I would start running into people that played music in the middle of the night or over by the square. And so I gradually would run into people. Jason and the Tall Trees, that's the rock band, the funk band that's featured in the trailer and the big scene after the poetry in the film in Act 2. So that lead singer was just rocking out with the saxophone in the middle of South Street on a random night in Philadelphia. So I'm wandering, just trying to figure out where my calm my senses in my brain, and I run into this amazing artist. He's playing the saxophone. I stop to listen. I throw some change in where his hat is, and when he's done, he asks me a few questions. We exchange our information, and I featured his music. Like, it was just the power of this then and there now, and the talent that I could just see from him. I'm like, I need to put this into this film. And then from there, it was the same story. Justin Graham, who passed away during the making of the film, we feature him during the love scene as well as the trailer, The One.
Very sorry you were passing.
Yeah, I was very sorry to hear that as well. But I ran into him in Philadelphia during the weekend. It's a beautiful day out. I was just hanging out by Rittenhouse Square, and he was just hanging out listening to artists. And he just sparked up a conversation. He's just a friendly guy. And he was like, yeah, I do music as well. I write. I produce my own music. I do poetry. I host this event called Picola Love every Thursday. You should come by and check it out. From there, it just blossomed into a friendship. I featured his music. So the music stems from this being naturally part of myself. And growing up, I listened to hip-hop. I listened to soul, R&B. I had a very diverse palette. So it makes sense that the soundtrack is diverse. It all comes together.
And the only Philadelphia music I'm familiar with is from the 70s, the Philadelphia International label, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, the OJs, who were actually from Cleveland, the 3 Degrees, MFSB, and so on, that type of music.
Oh, yeah.
Don't Leave Me This Way, the original version by Teddy Pendergrass, and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, stuff like that. That's when I think of Philadelphia, I think of that, the whole Philly soul sound from the 70s.
Oh, yeah. Bob, I'll tell you my favorite OJ song,
Yep.
Backstabbers. I still play that song all the time.
What they do. They smile in your face. Yeah, that's right. For the Love of Money, Love Train, they had a lot of great tunes.
Absolutely.
And stuff like Bad Luck by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, like the 8-minute version of it. So I love stuff like that, yeah.
Cool.
So, growing up in Arlington, you end up finishing high school and going to college.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went to Castleton University. Played sports there, as well as received the writing.
Vermont?
Yeah, Lower Vermont.
Oh, I've never been a student there, but I've walked through Castleton. I know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
It's near Rutland. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
near the New York border too.
Every single choice I've ever made in my life has been a sense of just personal growth, where I've wanted to just be as diverse and different than the stage before.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Boston pretty much. My father lived in Dorchester, my grandfather lived in Alton Heights, my mom Somerville, then Arlington. So I was already used to the tons of people everywhere, electricity or whatever you needed. I was used to the city life. So when I wanted to go to college, I wanted to do something more rural, something a little bit more low-key, something where I could kind of just figure out what I want to do the rest of my life. And Castleton provided me that. So Liberal Arts College, University, it gave me all the tools I needed to figure out what I wanted to do.
So, being up there, what made you want to go into writing, film directing, and acting?
So my journey as an artist started well before college. I saw the first thing was actually poetry.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got started. I started writing poetry when I was just very, very young stage of adolescence, and from there it just gradually progressed. So as I got older, it was a sense of challenging myself and just wanting to just explore the written art form, art in terms of the written element to it. So I went from writing poetry to writing sometimes, lyrics, to writing short stories, to then long pieces. And then gradually in college, it manifested into screenwriting. So it just, I can't tell you really if there's anything that really made it happen, just in terms of just it gradually, naturally transcended into that.
So you took all the different pieces and put it together.
Yeah.
And do you feel that the education you received, the opportunity to get, because you had to do all the work. I mean, they didn't just walk up there and here you go, here's your education. Some people think that, though.
Sometimes.
What do you use today that you took from that enhances or helps you with what you're doing now?
So I'll give a shout out to, in high school, I took creative writing, advanced creative writing, and she's a wonderful teacher. Her name is Miss Orlando, Miss O. Shout out to her. That experience was the first time I ever was able to not only write creatively in terms of whatever I want to write, I can write, but then I had it critiqued by someone that was a professional, someone that knew how to write, and then educated me on the right way to do that. That's what I use today. That element of learning the right way to write how I want to write, and still, does that make sense in a sense? Yeah. Like, people can write in their journal and their diary, but to format it and to follow a structure like a screenplay or a playwright, that's different. That's different. That's where education comes in. So that's where I use my education right now. It's just what I learned through creative writing and just getting higher level education is just a proper way to get your thoughts on the paper so that other people can read it and receive it.
So when you were at Castleton, did you work on the campus newspaper or like a poetry review type of thing, or did you do a blog? What sort of writing did you do?
Absolutely not. I took into screenwriting.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Screenwriting,
heavily involved with the video production classes and professor. Right. But in terms of the newspaper, no, I didn't do those type of reporting. Yeah, I'm a creative thought. I don't really. Yeah. I can't do that.
Like, I wasn't a theater student or whatever, but here at Salem State, one of the things we had to do was go to a couple plays in Boston and a couple plays here at Salem State. So we would see the Glass Menagerie here, and then go to see Little Shop of Horrors or Sheer Madness in Boston and write a review of it. So that was part of our writing, was to do a review of a play here and in Boston. So we did that sort of thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, graduated and then got a job in Boston, or is that when you went to Philly?
No, so I was in Boston, and so my journey as a professional went from playing sports at Castleton, and from there going right into financial sales. Because when you're an athlete, sales just tends to be the best field for you to get into. They target you because you know how to be part of a team, you know how to be coached. You're kind of like a robot. Mm-hmm. So I was the ideal candidate for Boston. And I'm sure you guys know Boston is striving, just like tech sales, finance sales. There's a lot of salesy companies that are in Boston. So I went into financial sales right from college. And I did that for about 2 years. And from there, I was relocated to Philadelphia to follow into financial sales.
So, and of course, you were working on your new film recently when we were playing Philly.
Yeah.
During the Celtics playoffs. Must have been, well, I'm a Boston fan, but I'm in Philadelphia,
Well, get ready for this, Aaron. So I'm actually not a Boston fan. I'm a Los Angeles Lakers fan. Mm-hmm. I'm a Kobe guy. He's still my favorite basketball player, even though he's not playing anymore. So I'm a Lakers guy. I was rooting for Boston to beat Philadelphia, but when you lose your favorite player and your favorite team's not in the playoffs, it's kind of like you're just enjoying the sport. So I was just enjoying watching these two great teams go at each other.
Well, I had the opportunity when we won our last championship.
Long time ago.
Celtics? It was just a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't that
in the
long.
past decade? I forget the exact year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know you guys beat, so I know it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
so you beat 76ers, okay.
Beat the Lakers.
Oh, the Lakers. Oh,
Yeah.
what am I saying?
So,
yeah.
I had the opportunity, which doesn't happen very often, to meet Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know,
Yeah, very tall.
the man is, you know, nice and 7'2". His best friend is 5'2". They've been friends since 3rd grade.
Makes sense.
So I got this, actually, you know, they were there. And his passion on the court is not the same as the passion of being a great humanitarian and a nice gentleman when you meet him. You know, it's that energy. And I think that's, even with what you're doing now, is the passion to be right in there, and it's all important, and the structure, but the creativity and the flow, which probably helps a lot because you were an athlete. So you know the team, you know how, when you put things together, you're passing lines now, and words and thoughts, and not a basketball or baseball or football. It's just so, but it works. Like you said, you know, going into financial because they figure you work as a team.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't do what you're doing now without, even with your own team yourself, you know, because you have to find those different parts and you put it all together. How did you choose the other actors for the movie?
Great question. So, it, you know, kind of goes back to that theme of, is it coincidence or is it destiny? So, the initial process of casting for Boston and Philly was I put out like this huge calling. I put out IPB for all local actors, theater professionals, people that just want to be interested in joining something, to come out on the specific date and audition for this for Boston and Philly. Now, keep in mind, I had not proven myself whatsoever in the community. No one knew who I was. I was just a random person that just made a post. And I did my best to spread around, and I did my best to share it and get some eyes on it. And so eventually, leading up to the audition, I booked this like dungeon, like this really old school community arts building in the middle of nowhere to host auditions. I had a very, very small budget. So I had a small room, like at the end of the hallway, past a few different skeletons. So it's a lot going on. So the day of this auditions come, I was expecting about 25 people to show up. And actually, pretty much no one showed up for the first 2 hours. So it was pretty devastating for me at that point in time. Now, granted, it was raining. So it was raining pretty bad. And for some odd reason, the day just was shorter, so it got nighttime really early. And gradually, right before we ended, people started coming in. And the people that came in was Ty Birch, who played the role of Coach George. Shane Witherspoon, who played the role of Ant. He's the person that the more urban appeal to the film. And you know, the star, the lead of the film, I didn't even think she was there for me. She walked into this room like this supermodel coming in. I'm thinking she's lost. I'm thinking there's no way she's here for me. So I approached her to help her find her way. And I found out that she was actually, she was there for the film, and in more ways than not, she'd help me find my way. And that's the whole culmination of finding people. It's just putting it out there, scared that no one's going to show up, and then finally the people that, just the people that I needed. And that was the thing, there wasn't too much competition, just the people that I needed showed up. And was that coincidence? Was it destiny? Who knows? But
It's meant to be.
It's meant to be.
Because I remember the interesting part of the journey was not the beginning with the coach, although you've got to see that because it's very important.
Yeah.
Because it's just very feeling and very, 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 very important. But when you meet your professor and he says, I'm putting up $50,000. I'm worth $6 million. And
Yeah.
I'm putting up this is my first time teaching, which I wouldn't have believed anyway, the way he handled it. But $50,000 to the individual or the group who fulfills this assignment. And the assignment was?
To connect with a deeper level with yourself and the people around you. To figure out what you believe the goal and focus of life should be.
And he said, I'm going to break you into groups. Then he says, no, let you break yourselves up into groups of 4. And there were four very different people, different personalities, that came together in different ways in your group. And as you're sitting there in a diner or a restaurant.
Genos, that's a very famous location.
Genos and Pats
Yeah.
are across from each other. They're famous for cheesesteaks. And I've not been there because I could not get a parking space. I wanted to go there when I was in Philly, but I couldn't get a parking space. But they are legendary for their cheesesteaks.
Yes. Yeah. and granted, there are a bunch of great places. Like Philadelphia has amazing cheesesteaks.
Right.
But Geno's, it happens to be one of the first places I went.
Yeah.
And I formed a relationship with the actual Geno's. The actual owner of the restaurant knows me very well. Huge supporter of the film. So we shot there. That's where we shot.
Yeah, because I saw the cup. So
Yeah.
great product placement for him.
I know. We hooked him up.
But you're sitting there and the questions that were put together, you're sitting there and trying to figure it out, what's going on. And you got to sit around and answer these questions to get to know each other and to get to know yourself. And you basically say, I'm out of here. This is not me. This is not real. You know, money's not real, and I don't really belong here. But it changed. Started asking the questions. And what would you do? And what would you do for yours was actually, what would you do if you had the money?
Yeah.
And you're going to go buy 2 cars. And the one of the young ladies had a very big issue that is very big today. She was a cutter. And you showed background footage of how she felt and what it was all about. And her, because she was in the movie a bit, but not as much as you and some of the other characters. But it was important. When you were putting that together, and the different parts of the character development, as you said, a lot of it comes from what you've seen and what you in your life. Because I'm looking at it from the point of a writer, someone who's very socially aware, intellectual, psychological, philosophical. That's what I see in your character development of each character, which is really outstanding.
Thank you.
Because each topic that each person was part of was different, but the same. You're all in college. You've all been through different lives. I mean, you know, when the other male in your group, it's like, everybody grew up with picket fences, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, Philly says, "What's a picket fence?" What's a picket fence?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know what that is. And the other young lady said, "I do know what it is." And basically, she looks like she had it all, but she didn't have any of it because it all hurt. And it's important to see that. Am I paying attention to the movie?
And I haven't met someone yet to have this guidance. So like you really get it. Like you really get it. It's touching. It's heartwarming to see someone else that doesn't know me, only knows my work, to connect with this film and the story that I was trying to give in such a way that you have. I know you've seen me. I've done plenty of interviews. Very rarely am I the person sitting down and really listening to the other person. I can't help but want to hear more of what you like. Yes, like you really get it.
Well, because I'm watching it, and it's a personal journey, okay? It's not only meant for then, just getting into college, because everybody's journey changes, and you have to reevaluate and rethink, and as you meet these challenges, because some people have, they think they have the perfect life, for the other person, but they don't know the other person, because they don't know themselves. Bob and I are the same age. Grew up totally in two different ways. We both love music. That's what brought us together.
We have common interests, and obviously radio would be one, I would guess. Yeah.
And, we had a friend of ours who
Yep,
brought us all
God
together.
bless. That's right, he passed on.
Passed. So, finding what your passion is, finding how to express yourself in your own terms, not in somebody else's. And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I
Making
saw.
your own movie, not someone else coming to you and saying, I want it this way, and you're like, no, I want it this way. You want it your own way. Like, following your passions, rather than having someone else dictate, okay, you should do this, doing what you want to do. And this movie does sound interesting. I wanted to ask, by the way, you were talking, someone mentioned Amazon Prime. If you don't have it, can you still see it somehow for a donation? Is there a way to see it online? You don't have to be a member of Amazon Prime?
So right excuse me. So right now it's exclusively on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
However, by the end of June, early July, I don't know what the time frame is. We will be available on iTunes and then Google Play.
Okay, Google Play I think I could do because I think I have that. But is there something like on YouTube? Like, is there something with like a trailer?
There's a trailer.
There is a trailer. Okay.
There's also, if you go to my WhatsApp page, and the post I put up about Ralph coming on,
Right.
it has the link to the page for the movie on
Okay.
Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It has a link, if you click on Ralph's name, it links back to Ralph, and also to Amazon Prime. So you can click on that and go in and see the trailer.
Yeah.
And of course, the music is there.
And Bob, I invite you to check out the Facebook page because
Okay.
it's almost an active blog because there's so much going on right now. Obviously, Aaron, we have a very aggressive promotion campaign going on with this film. So every booking, all these new things, we're constantly doing, releasing clips and sweepstakes. A lot's going on with the Facebook page. You can check out the Facebook page, which has a trailer and other videos as well.
Yeah. I was going to mention, we've had on someone from the Salem Film Festival in the past, and I attended a movie called Last Stand at Dodge, which was about a nightclub here in Salem that was part of the festival. There must be some interesting film festivals that you could enter it into, something like that.
You won, where did you
You won the
your
award. You won an award in one of these?
So the film has actually traveled throughout the entire country.
Oh, it has? Okay, good.
We've actually done an entire year from the actual. So we did an independent tour ourselves,
Yep.
and then from there we entered into the festival circuit after we made sure to get some money back.
Right, the festival circuit, yeah.
So we've traveled throughout the entire country. We've also been featured in France with the Pan-African Cannes Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, you're right. I'm very blessed to say that I am an award-winning filmmaker.
Award-winning, yeah.
I won Best Actor as well with Mia Mendez at the Las Vegas Black Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Also the Roxbury International Film Festival, so that's happening right now.
Yeah.
I won last year. I won Key Boyne Best Emerging Filmmaker Award.
Yeah.
There. We've also won Best Movie at the Haiti Movie Awards, which is one of the best. Did that caller come in?
It's a faux.
It's the battery is dying or something.
You know what's really happening?
But
Okay, the phone. Okay, the battery happening. The phone is applauding. That is applause for everything you've done so far, and this is only the very beginning.
This is number one. This is the very, and I try to tell people that, like, listen, guys, like, this is, I'm learning all of this. I spent about 10 minutes trying to figure out how to put Facebook Live together. This is all the very initial first steps of a very long journey that I know is in front of me, and I'm just taking it one day at a time, one step at a time. And I'm loving the people that I'm meeting, the experience. I'm on my own journey now. The sequel to Boston and Philly is happening right now. I'm living through it, and it's great stuff. But yeah, so there's been plenty of festivals.
yeah, great. That's great. Yeah.
The fun part is and we're honored to be your first interview since the movie came out.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So this is a world premiere interview with
Yes. Ralph Celestin. Yeah.
of
Boston to Philly. It's all one word. Boston, number 2 Philly, if you want to go online. If you want to look for it on Amazon Prime or iTunes, you can type that in, or Boston T.O. Philly, spell it out. We're all there.
How long did this take from scripting till now? Does it go back like 3 or 4 years? Has it been a long time doing the whole process?
From the very first day of me writing
Yep.
to now, it's been about 3 years.
3 years.
But in terms of like once I casted the film to then having the world premiere, it was actually only about 7 months.
Okay.
I did spend an entire full year in the festival circuit though. I really wanted to hit. I wanted to go from East Coast to West, flat out, and everything in between. So it's been a very long journey of a lot of ups and downs, and so now this is the road of vindication, where everything else is just here.
how does your family feel about it?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story, Eric, for you and the listeners. Family's very supportive. They're all about it. However, there is a love scene in the movie, as you know, and so my family seeing me in that way has consistently been a very something that people bring up around the dinner table, that they just constantly kind of make fun of and or just like laugh, poke fun at my mom, stuff like that. That's the only. They feel good about it, but they definitely have fun with that scene.
But it was a very tasteful love scene.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was showing the passion without not using your mind. You have to use your mind.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie. I mean, it is a. I'm trying to think of the right word. A movie of experience, knowledge, passion, praise, and as you said, you're still on that journey. You have taken, because once you sat down and wrote it and lived part of it, now you're actually really living it beyond the movie. The movie has come to life for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not many people can say, Jaws, Star Wars, it's like, that's not happening tomorrow. They take names from it, but it's not happening. This is happening. You are happening. And I know we're going to see a lot more from the other actors that were in the movie. And also the music. I mean...
Yes, the soundtrack. The soundtrack is out now as well on iTunes. Check it out. Boston to Philly, spell it out. It's all there.
You're listening to What's Happening here on 91.7 Wmwm Salem, a broadcast service of Salem State University. I'm Aaron.
Ralph Celestin.
And Bob Nelson.
And so, it's out. It's going to be continuing to develop in other places, as you mentioned.
Yep. Gaining speed, picking momentum up.
Is it a feature length, or is it a short, or in between?
Oh,
or
no, it's definitely a full
feature length. Good.
Yeah.
And
97 minutes.
97 minutes, yeah.
you don't miss... Actually, if you miss a part of it, you're going to want to watch it again. Because I saw it, and as soon as I finished watching it, I wanted to watch it again.
Did you say something about a sequel? You were already working on a sequel?
Well, I was working on another movie.
Oh, another movie,
Yeah.
okay.
Which is actually finishing production right now, for the most part. That's called Celest's Kitchen. And again, another personal element to me. That shot entirely using Boston actors. So that was actually shot in Boston. But right now my focus is Boston to Philly and pushing that forward. So I've kind of taken a backseat with Celest. But
When Celestin comes out, definitely going to want to have you back.
oh, of course.
And, but going back to Philly, it just... you think, well, you moved from Boston, you moved to Philly. Okay, no, that's not what it's about. It became who you both were. You're representing Boston. I'm Boston. And she didn't want to give her name and became Philly.
Yeah.
And it showed similarities in different parts. Because in Boston, as we all know, we look at things differently than they do in any other part of the country or in New England, because you have to show us, prove it to us, and then prove it to us again, and then again you still prove it one more time. And that's what I see. And I see it with the movie too, because, you know, like I said in the beginning, you're walking around and seeing the wonder of the new city. It was hard for you because as your character, and even yourself when you were there, but you had to experience it. You had to live it. Somebody can't just say, you know, if you go down the street, there's a good restaurant or there's some good music. You went out and experienced it, took a walk, and found out what it was all about. And I think, as we tell people, you know, get out and meet and listen to live music and experience what the arts and the community has. Because you don't get from Boston to Cannes Film Festival by nobody ever seeing it. Nobody ever wanting to see it or hear it. And when you started, what was your expectation for the writing, then the music, and then the movie, and up until now?
Look, I didn't really have very high expectations for the film. To be honest with you, Aaron, I just wanted to do something that I could be proud of, and just to create a platform where I could be heard and put my thoughts on the paper. When I started writing the film, I didn't plan on making it into a movie. I just wrote it because I love to write. You have to understand the mindset that I was in at that point in time. So I'm taking this midnight train from Boston to Philadelphia. I am leaving behind my home to a questionable future. I'm starting this new job. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, if I'm going to be good at it. So there's this looming factor of disappointment. My family situation, as I've mentioned in other interviews, my father figure, my Professor Balin, who was actually named after my grandfather, he was literally passing away before my eyes when I was leaving Philadelphia. So I had to make that tough decision to leave at that point in time for my future, for financial gain and my career advancement, knowing that this is a stage that the elderly in my family are, you know, they're moving on to the next stage of life. So there's just so many different emotions that I was going through. So I just started writing, and I just wanted to create. I started writing this story, and when I made a decision to turn it into a film, I just wanted to finish it. I came across this statistic, and I always butcher it because it's been so long since I had it, but it's something where 4 every 5 films, independent films, never see the end of day, never see the light of day. They don't see completion. It's something insane like that. And I actually came across this statistic before I held the auditions. So it's been looming over me throughout the entire process of the film. So my expectations really was just write this to get my emotions in check. Put it on paper. You know, express myself. Just release all these emotions onto this piece of paper. Now, let me start this voyage as an artist. Let me continue on as an artist and create something that is fulfilling. And that's where the decision to make a film is. Then from there, when realizing the decision of, am I going to make this a short film or a feature film? I'm like, you know what, I'm going to make this my opus. I'm going to make this a large-scale art project unlike anything I've ever done before. I'm going to create this mountain knowing that I need to get over it. So I made it into a feature-length film.
And in doing so, I imagine you had to face the whole thing about fundraising, whether it was a crowdfunding thing or investors or corporate people or something like that making donations. Is that how you went about it? Did you do something online, or how did you raise money for the money making, for the making of the film?
Great question. And you know, this is something I'm very proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And what you just said is what everyone does, right?
Yeah.
Everyone does either crowdsourcing, fundraising, finding investors. I actually just took on the challenge myself.
Yeah.
I funded the movie completely on my own. And when it started to get just a little bit too much to handle on just my one job with salary, I took another job. That's how I just wanted again, my expectations was just to finish and make sure I could be proud of this. So I took a part-time job. I was working close to 10 hours a day, and then I'd come back home, fall asleep or edit till I fell asleep, and then during the weekends, we'd shoot the movie. But there was no crowdsourcing, there was no fundraising. I paid for everything myself.
This was the first ever Boston to Philly marathon,
Yeah.
and you ran it yourself.
Absolutely.
But you had all the support,
Yes.
and I could see in the movie that all the actors cared about each other beyond, because I could see it beyond what was on the screen, because you can tell that they took your writing seriously. They took the energy that you put into it and that they brought to it. I mean, there's some very, very, very dark and deep parts of this movie.
Absolutely.
There's loss. There is passion. There is, above all, love in this movie. But you have to go in with an open mind and let it find you. And then go back and watch it again, and you find more. And that's how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different things that I put. There's layers. There's layers to it, and I did that because that's just the type of movies I like. I like movies that have more than just the surface level. I like the characters that have so many different story arcs. And what I really wanted to focus on, Aaron, was the dialogue. I wanted to explain stories through what they're saying, through their speech, and some of the topics that we touch on through the dialogue is something that people may need to go back. Like, what did he say about that? What was this? And then they might even want to look it up in Google and find out a little bit more about it. For example, the entire speech of affluenza and then
that was yes.
Right? So some people don't even know what that is, and the way he explains it in a way that's very urban, but it's still had all the facts. You know?
But the way that he found out about it from his friend,
Yeah.
and then also when in the movie they're having a press conference, and you and your best friend in the movie are walking up.
Well, not me. Shane Witherspoon and John Jameson. But yes,
But Mo. Okay. But you know what I'm saying. Walk up and challenge the mayor. Challenge him. I mean, he's giving, basically canned responses, or no responses. And we see that today, and we won't get into that now, but there's it goes from the top to the bottom. You don't get the honest feeling from that. But when you had your interview for college, asking for financial aid,
Yes.
and she said, "Do I follow this?" And then you gave her the facts. You knew when you walked in there what you had to say and what was going to be honest. That's why you were able to get what you needed to. But you have to do it yourself. It's great to have the support system, but nobody is going to write your film for you.
Yeah.
No one is going to do all the parts. And you traveled around to bring the parts together, like you said, the music, the actors, more
More applause.
relation, yes, more applause.